What's going on, guys? Hanging out. What's going on, guys? We're hanging out here on another awesome episode of Hostways Exotics. Today we're going to be cleaning out a lot of the venomous snake enclosures, and we're going to be having some fun while we do it. So I decided to bring you guys along. Enjoy the video. All right, so the first thing we need to do, guys, is put on some gloves. I don't know if I ever told you guys, I'm a super big Rick and Morty fan. They just dropped a new season too. Tell me what you guys think about it if you're Rick and Morty fans. Back to the video. I should position myself opposite way so my butt's not in the camera. That'd probably be smart, guys, huh? Sometimes I think it's funny to include like little snippets like this in the video. Kind of helps with a little bit more of the realism to, with the whole vibe and everything in the video. But so let's go ahead and get started with our first cleaning here. Sorry, excuse me, my little boy for a second. We'll go up here and check out our first reptile. We have to definitely give him some fresh water. Looks like our timber rattlesnake friend's here doing his thing. That's good that he's out. Pull this one off. Where are you? Where are you? Well, things happen. It'll be all right. I don't know how it just rolled off like that. Booyah! Look who we got here. Here you are, my little friend. Because I like to go ahead and put him in his separate enclosure. That way we can feed him. This is with a burrowing species, it would be kind of hard. But I'll get him out for you to see for a little close up here. Let me put him in his little bucket. Looks like he's going through shed again. So here we are, guys. This is the milk snake that I picked up a little while ago that was sent by mistake and I got for free for somebody. This is let me look at a Nelson's albino milk snake, to be precise. Very beautiful coloration with this one. I love the albino species, especially with the milk snakes. So this one has a good abundance of reds, yellows, and whites. Very similar species to our coral snake. They look very similar, but this is like the old saying, go red next to yellow, kill a fellow. Red next to black, friend of Jack. Where the blacks would have been where the whites are at now. So, with the albino, it gets rid of that coloration, but it does keep these other colors pretty prominent with the yellows and the reds. But let's go ahead and keep moving on. I'll see if I can find a little pinky to give to him, and we'll get his enclosure cleaned out. Then we'll show you what we got in store up here in the next enclosure. So I do just got a couple pieces of cork bark over here for him that I use. Like I said, they're a burrowing species, so you just got to provide them a amount of substrate and some, different hide spots. So those work really, really good for that. Water bowl. Can't wait to show you guys my little rattlesnake, how big he's gotten. So here we go. All right, guys. So moving on to our next reptile up here, or serpente. We got the smallest timber rattlesnake that I have in the collection here. This is a wild caught specimen that was locally. Was in somebody's yard. They wanted to relocate it and they called me, so I decided to take this little guy in. But we got to get him out of his enclosure because it is time to clean it out and put some fresh mulch in here as well. Well, that was anticlimactic. Oh, light still works, so that's good. Either way, I was trying to get my friend out of here like so. That's all we need to do. There we go. Alright, so we got our little snake friend out of here. There's a mosquito, one of the mosquitoes out here. I'll put them into our bucket so that way we can safely view them. Ugh. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. So, all we gotta do is booyah. Locked and secured. Alright, so here you go, guys. That is a timber rattlesnake. This is the Crotalus horridus, one of the awesome pit viper species that we have here in the state of Georgia. Awesome little baby. He's getting pretty big. I would say at this point he's getting to the 2-feeder mark. He only has what, 3 or 4 buttons on him, but as they older, as they shed and stuff, they'll get a whole lot more buttons. So I plan on keeping this guy for a long time. So as long as you stay watching the channel, you get to see this guy keep on growing and going, and I'll show you some of the bigger ones here too shortly. Alright, so moving on to the next one. Now that we got the baby rattlesnake put back in his cage, we're going to clean out the enclosures right here, and these will have 2 of the copperhead babies that we've been raising up, and you can see how big those guys have gotten. But here we go. Alright guys, so behind me we have the copperhead pit viper right over here. This is a pit viper species that's endemic to a lot of Georgia. So these, well, really I shouldn't even just say Georgia, a lot of the eastern portion of the US. Got a little map on the right side of the screen, check it out. But they are one of the most common venomous snakes that we have, and they're one of the most timid venomous snakes. So if you're ever thinking about getting into the venomous snake hobby, I definitely recommend getting you a copperhead, because that'd be the one. Not to say that they won't bite you, but you probably have the least chance of one biting you. But when they're babies, they can be a little bit more bitey. I will say these are a little on the spicy side. Get what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and let's get you guys in here. Let's show you what my little snake friends got going on here. Oh, he went in there trying to hide on us. Let's see. Let's reach in here with a little old snake hook. And here we are. Just got a little bit of coaxing here. There we are. Turn on around here. And then we can put our snake friend in our enclosure, like so. And here, guys, you can get a real good up close visual of just how big this little snake has gotten. So I would say they're getting close to around the 1.5 to 2 feet mark, which copperhead is a whole lot smaller than some of the rattlesnake species, which get around 6 feet, 6 feet or so, compared to your pygmy rattlesnake. But a 2 foot, 3 foot long copperhead is a pretty decent size when compared to the adults. So they're getting some pretty good size on them, I would say. Awesome snake. And let's go ahead and get this cage cleaned out and put some new mulch in here. I'll show you the other one, and we'll keep on rolling. All right, so let's move on up here to the other ones. You guys check out and see how big the other baby copperhead is. Yeah. Sometimes they can be a little bit rambunctious, and sometimes I can knock over every light in every video, apparently. I'm gonna tear up my own lights. I have to go end up buying some new ones. Come here, man. We gotta get you out anyway. There we go. There we go. Now we're gonna get our little turd here. I'll get you guys up close. So this is the other one here. As you can tell, not really a lot of color variation or anything like that with these two, but they do kind of look, you know, different compared to the adults. I think they're a little bit of a mixture of both of them. The other one is a little bit more pinkish than I can say, because you can tell the mom was a little bit more pink, but they are still awesome specimens. So let's keep on rolling, and I'll show you guys some other ones in just a minute. Alright, so next up we're going to take out the old copperheads here. We need to check on them, make sure wasn't no babies born or nothing like that. So we got a holding receptacle ready for them right here. I'm going to put both of them in here, and then we can take them out and look at them. Probably in front of the camera here. Be a good time, I reckon. See where both of my snaky snakes are. I think one of them is back yonder ways. So let's take out the male first. There we go. Pretty docile snakes for the most part. This is the male copperhead here. You guys, give you a little bit of black background for comparison here. I don't want to put my hand too close to them. Some gun will bite you, so you know, got to be careful. But that is copperhead. Like I mentioned before, this is the Echistrodon contortrix, and this is not to be confused with the water moccasin, even though they are in the same family. The water moccasin is the Echistrodon piscivorus, the fish-eating swamp viper, and many other names. This is just a copperhead. So a little bit different snake. They can interbreed and make a hybrid rattlesnake. But that is the male one that I have, and you can tell you kind of see the same coloration in the babies too. But you'll see with the mom a little bit more pinkish coloration. So I'm going to put him in here, which I've been handling these snakes for quite some time, so you know they're relatively used to me messing with them. I can get them off my snake hook here. There you go. Generally, it kind of fall off when you got yourself wrapped up around there, so I'm pretty sure. Yup. That is where our big body female is here. I'm pretty sure it's full of some copperhead babies. So check them out here. Female copperhead, you can see with her the pinkish tones that I was speaking of a whole lot more than anything else. But super cool species to have. I hope she has some babies so we can add some more snakes to our collection here. Because they're kind of hard to come by with venomous snakes. They're kind of hard to find. So I'm hoping to start a breeding project to increase my own collection that way of some different species and more species and stuff. But awesome copperhead. This one's pushing about 3 feet. So this is a pretty decent sized copperhead in my opinion. But you can see the huge size difference in between the babies and this one. So they still got a pretty long ways to go growing wise at least. So we can just put that there. Pretty simple. We don't even have to really lock it because they're not going to be able to get out of there too much. So when you're dealing with venomous snakes, especially if you're keeping them in pairs, with snakes like this you need to know your species. And knowing the species, I know that these snakes are ovoviviparous. I'll put a definition on the screen for you guys. So these snakes are live birthing snakes. These snakes gestate their eggs internally and they hatch and then they come out all as live little babies. So I always like to go in here and check and see, especially when you possibly could be expecting. Another thing about the copperhead too is that they are one of the few snakes that can do virgin birth, where they reproduce through a factor of parthenogenesis whenever they don't need a male to be present to actually give birth. But their birthing numbers are significantly reduced during this tactic, but still a good reproductive strategy to keep your population alive. So that's like one of the main things with copperheads, is why you don't really see a lot of people keeping them as much, is because of stuff like that. Because you can have one female and then the next thing you know you got baby copperheads. But you'll definitely see a lot more males in the hobby and in the trade in general, I would say. While I'm sitting here just kind of spot cleaning a little bit of stuff here. Because their mulch is kind of good. I recently changed theirs out. But I spot clean weekly. Every week I try to come here and spot clean some stuff out. Cool. And then sometimes I move the mulch around and redo it. But they kind of have their places they like to hide in. So I really don't like to bother them with that. All right, that side looks good. And we can check the other side. All right, I think we're good there. Now we can go ahead and get our copperhead friends back in their cage. And that is just one quick little way I want to show you about some of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis with a lot of these snakes. It's just coming here and doing simple stuff like that. I did forget to refill the water bowl. So I'll go ahead, swap sides. Also, I'll take and pour out their water bowl kind of in the area too, for a little extra hydration, because I don't like to waste anything if I can help it. And we spray it with our chlorhexidine clean solution. Wipe that out. And then we'll spray this out with some water real quick, so that way we're not just having chlorhexidine water in there. Dry that out. And then that's all good to go. There was a little extra poop right there around the water bowl. No biggie. We'll take this thing and maybe move it like that. How about that? And there we go. So now we can just fill up our water bowl with our dechlorinated water with our Reptisafe as well. And that's it for that enclosure. Now I gotta figure out where my sprayer top went. It's all good. Let's go ahead and get our snakes back in here. Where they can go back to enjoying their day and not too hindered with me moving all the stuff around, getting all the poop out of there. One thing I will tell you about a snake, they will poop in their cage as soon as you clean it. You put new mulch or anything like that in there, spray it down, don't last long. So they should be good. I'm not worrying about spraying them down right now this week. I'll do it later on this week. And we're just gonna get them back into their house and get them locked back up. So now we can go ahead and fast track through all the rest of it, and we'll show you some more reptiles. All right, now we're moving on to one of these cages down here in the middle. These are my 8-foot enclosures that are by Reptile Habitats. Awesome enclosures, guys. I highly recommend you go check them out. I'd always have a links down in my description, my videos, if you guys never check them out. If you haven't seen them, not check them out, but if you haven't seen them, just go down and check out in the description. You can go get you one of these Reptile Habitats. They're glass front opening enclosures. This part, the bottom part here is plexiglass. They are stackable, but you have to buy some stackable pieces for them. And you also can get these, I think it's just the 4x8x4, 4x4x8 enclosures that has the connection kits where you can make them a 8-foot long enclosure like these are. So the expansion kits are freaking amazing. So this was the best deal I can get on an 8-foot enclosure, and it being glass front opening is a huge plus in my opinion. But we can still look at this. It looks professional. They're great quality. I think they're going to last for a long time. I'm going to get some more to upgrade the rest of my enclosures to get some smaller ones, some different sizes, because I may not need them necessarily as big. But I think if I get more of these 4x4x8 ones with the option to expand them or keep them separate is some great possibilities for me. I love that idea of keeping them. So let's go ahead and get this snake out of this enclosure, and we can get them into this holding receptacle. For this one is going to be the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake. We need to get this snake actually with both of these snake hooks. I've been practicing trying to make sure I can get my double hooking down real good, because that keeps me for sure out of the strike zone of this behemoth of a rattlesnake. So what we do is we can get them up here on one hook, kind of like this, if we want to. So this is the Eastern Diamondback. He's a great big one. He's a big one. And this is Mr. Shaky himself, the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake. And he probably weighs like maybe 5-10 pounds, just holding him up at the end of this hook like this. He is one of the world's largest species of rattlesnake, and an awesome species to keep in captivity for me, and definitely not for any beginners that are wanting to keep venomous snakes. So make sure you guys are always careful. Don't do what I do. And I'm gonna go ahead and get him into his enclosure so that way we're not messing with him too much. But this bigger snake hook definitely helps us support his weight a whole lot better than this other one that I have here. Just because with him being such a bigger snake, it makes that much of a difference. There we go. Get him into his little holding receptacle here. Then what I'm going to do is turn the entrance of my other rattlesnake that I have in here. House around, and I will just take them out and show her to you, and then put her back, because the only thing we got to do here is change out of water. So let me go ahead and spray this out, clean it out, and then we'll refill it real quick. Which I would not recommend to do this. This is not part of like snake keeping. I just know these animals really well. So especially you don't want to work inside of the venomous snake enclosure with there being one inside there, but this one's in the hiding, so I know it's not going to come out and try to strike at me while I try to clean out the water bowl here. But anytime else, I will not be doing any kind of enclosure work with the reptile still in there. So that's one thing to always key note about, you know, people always ask like, what do you gotta do to get into venomous? Well, first of all, I would find somebody to teach you how to keep venomous snakes or how to be around them, take care of them, just getting them in and out of the enclosure. Because finding somebody that keeps venomous snakes already is a whole lot easier, because it didn't just put you straight into the fire. I was taught by a couple different people. I didn't really have a lot of hands-on training, but I had a lot of like educational training on them and what to do. But the practical stuff came from me actually keeping them. So let's see. Water bowl filled up with fresh agua. Now we'll just show off our biggest timber rattlesnake that we have here. Should be up under this here little house. Well, she's almost like she doesn't want to come out and play. And I do like having two sides, adds another layer of safety in my opinion. Now, well, we've gotten our snake kind of where we want them. We got our smaller hook supporting the main portion of the body, and the smaller portion of the body, and the bigger hook supporting the bigger portion here. This is the bigger timber rattlesnake here. This is Big Bertha. Beautiful rattlesnake species, and this is the Crotalus horridus, as I mentioned earlier. And this is another one of our pit viper species, and also one of the rattlesnake species that we have here in the state of Georgia. And they're super cool. And they're one of the more temperate species of rattlesnake that can be found up north as well, and found in the mountains, because their other name is the canebrake rattlesnake as well. So I'm gonna get her back into her enclosure. One last little look at the Big Bertha, the big canebrake rattlesnake. Here you go. She's super docile, you know, she ain't really rattle or anything. So she's good. While I'm doing this, now she's rattling a little bit because I tapped her with that little thing, but go ahead and get her in there and get that locked, and then we'll get our man Mr. Shaky back in there, and then we can talk about some of our other stuff. All right, so let's swap our hands. There you go, big man. All right. So, as I mentioned before, this, guys, is the big eastern diamondback rattlesnake. This is Mr. Shaky, a sight to behold. One I don't want to mess with too much. We just want him to go back in his home. He's quite heavy. All right, cool. Got him in here. And just like that, we're good. And then we'll pull out the other eastern diamondback rattlesnake, because there's definitely a big poop in there. We'll get her locked up. Let me show you guys here. So with this one here, this is one of the wild caught eastern diamondbacks that I've gotten and came across, and this one has been having some issues eating, so I had to go and ascertain a squirrel from outside, because that's one of their natural foods that they eat, and this one ate immediately. So this is the big female. This is going to be the breeder for the starter colony here. We got to get her fattened up and ready. Now, she might be a little spicy. I don't know. We'll see. All right, now, as you can tell, this rattlesnake's way freaking longer compared to old big Mr. Shaky himself. Now, this is a show enough rattlesnake. So I'm super glad to have this one, and you can tell with this one, the coloration on the tail region, if I can get them in frame, is a whole lot lighter compared to Mr. Shaky himself. So this definitely being wild caught, it's a little bit different coloration compared to him. He was a high yellow morph of the eastern diamondback species. Whew. So we're gonna get this girl another squirrel, and then hopefully she'll eat some more and get good and fatten up for a breeding season, and we'll try to stick them together and see what happens. Hopefully we'll have some eastern diamondback babies, along with some batwing hybrid babies as well. But I think we can get both of those produced with maybe some copperhead babies. We'll have a pretty good year, and then maybe I can get into some albino water moccasins, because I did see a couple of those come available, but you just never really know. Just like that, we got them locked up and secured, where we can go in the enclosure and get this stuff cleaned out. Cause that's a spicy meatball, if I ever seen one. That's spicy meatball. Put his little house back. Kind of move some leaves around in here a little bit. Got my T-Rex skull. There's some more poop in there. Oops. Alright, we can wash this out and then we'll be good to go. Alright, so now we got Big Bertha over here. She is definitely on edge, so we gotta be super careful when we're working with her. Apparently it's raining outside. It just came out of nowhere. That's freaking crazy. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to get Big Bertha out of here. I can swap hands real easily. This. Get her going in the right direction. That's one thing about summertime here in Georgia, man. Like, those summertime showers are come out of nowhere, man. I don't want to break my friend's tail here, but they don't want to be real cooperative with me here in this particular instance. There we go. There we go, guys. So that is the Eastern Diamondback. I'm going to get her back in here. I don't want to keep messing with her. I just want her back in her enclosure. Come on. Not break your freaking tail off, man. Back up. Back up. Another thing that I've learned with keeping venomous snakes is use your tools to open and close your enclosures if you can. Because that is a big, big deal with safety factor. Because if I'd reached down there and tried to close that, I'd have definitely gotten bit just then. But I use my common sense to lock that thing on down. Now I just need to put the little lock here. Just put that in, and then that's another thing about these enclosures. They come with their own locks and stuff, and they should be good to go. All right, moving on to the next one. We got our pygmy rattlesnake friend. I could probably get him into this enclosure for you guys. This rain is sure enough coming down. Sure enough coming down. Got our snake hook. Now we need our enclosure top for our thing right here, where I laid it down at. Right here. So let's check out and see what our pygmy rattlesnake friend is up to. Now this guy was my first venomous reptile. My water moccasin was numero dos. So I've had this guy for a long time. He's probably 5 or 6 years old now. He doesn't really ride a hook real well, but I'm gonna see if I can just get him in here for you real quick. This is the pygmy rattlesnake, the Cistrus malarius. The world's smallest species of rattlesnake. They can only come in around 2 feet long at the biggest one. If you see one bigger than that, that's a great big old pygmy rattlesnake. This is a Carolina red-faced pygmy rattlesnake, which is a little bit of a variation on the species. I'm gonna see if I can turn him around for you guys so you can see his red coloration, which comes out a whole lot more. See, and that's why I said he don't ride a hook real well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get him into a holding receptacle, so that way he doesn't break his rattles off as well. Because I've been trying to get him to grow his rattle out a little bit more, but he only has 2 at the moment, so we gotta make sure we keep him super secure and safe. But that is the pygmy rattlesnake, guys. Moving on to the next one.